Hello, my name is Jensen Cooper, and this is my entry for Impromptu. I will begin my preparation time now. Okay, so that ends my prep time, and I will begin my speech now. Panic. It's a word we don't often like to use. The feeling of panic can be overwhelming, can feel frustrating, can make us nervous, but sometimes panic can be a good thing. A quote from N.K. Jemisin. Fortunately, where reason failed, blind panic served well enough. This quote from N.K. Jemisin is a great example of how we can think about panic as being a good thing. There are three ways in which I think panic has expressed itself through time as a thing that can benefit us as an emotion. These three examples are in wartime, in times of extreme dire situations, and then all throughout history. One of my favorite examples of use of blind panic serving well enough to overcome reason is a wartime situation that may not be true, but I think illustrates many people's experience throughout their service in the armed forces, and that is in the movie Forrest Gump. In Forrest Gump, Forrest is serving in the Vietnam War. And as you may know, Forrest is not the brightest individual. It's pretty obvious that he is ailed by some sort of mental disability. And while that is true, when they're being bombed and Forrest is running away, the reasonable thing to do would to be run. Just like everyone's told him his whole life, run away, that he just needs to run. But that is not what Forrest does. Instead, Forrest, through blind panic, runs back and starts grabbing people and pulling them to safety. People over and over again. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know that the right thing is probably to just run away. He can't reason that in his head. And yet, the better option was to panic and to do what first came into his mind, and that was to save the lives of his friends. The second point I'd like to make, and the second way I see a lot of people using blind panic, is when we're able to do extraordinary things in very, very bad situations. I've heard in the news multiple times of people getting into car accidents and bystanders in a panic. That's the only thing you can describe it, in a panic, running over and lifting the cars. Well, it might have been more reasonable to wait for more and more people to help you come and lift the cars. These people, in their state of panic, their emotions and their adrenaline kick in, and they do the thing that they feel is right, and it works out. Some people are able to lift cars like they never have before, to get people out from them, to get people untrapped. And this is an incredible sight that all comes from this feeling of panic. Lastly, I think there is a lot of historical events that happen due to what is panic. I think that there are many people throughout history that have made decisions during wartime or during peacetime, during campaigns, where they feel trapped, they feel alone, and they panic. They panic, but in their panic, there's a moment of clarity. They understand what the right thing to do is. And they're able to do these things that make things better. I like to think of the citizens during the Revolutionary War. Well, the reasonable thing might have been to just sit by and watch the British take over your rights. They were afraid. They were panicked. When they saw the redcoats coming, when they heard that the British were coming, they did not submit. They did not do the reasonable thing that would save their lives. Instead, they panicked, they grabbed their guns, and they created the best country in the world. To conclude, I think that panic can be a good thing. The quote, "Fortunately, where reason failed, blind panic served well enough," by N.K. Jemisin, I think is an understatement. I think that panic throughout all time has served a very, very good purpose. In wartime, like we see Forrest Gump, with people doing extraordinary things in dire situations, like flipping cars to save people. And throughout all of history, including the Revolutionary War that led to this great country today. And that is why panic is not always a bad thing.